What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, and in this video I'm going to be doing a bunch of short reviews on a bunch of different items. So it's going to end up probably being a longer video, but not going to spend a ton of time on each one. Did feel like it needs a little bit of a backstory on why I'm making this video, and so if you don't care about that, feel free to skip forward a couple minutes and just get straight into the items. But for those that do care, I do have a huge backlog right now of videos to make. At this point, it's over 100 videos, and I only make, on average, I usually do every other day. As for uploads on long form content, the shorts I don't really schedule or include in that, but long form every other day, which is 15 to 16 videos a month. The last several months have been closer to 20 videos a month, but still with that, I wouldn't have gotten to all of these items in the next 6 months even, and on top of that, I do prioritize subscriptions, new items, and gear that I really like. And so these just kept getting pushed further and further back, and I need to get through that backlog because I want to start introducing some other series. I also want to start doing a weekly live, probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks, but that won't really affect the upload schedule of my long form stuff. But at the same time, do want to clear some of that backlog so I can do some other types of series as well that I don't currently make videos on. And so all of these items, some of them I just wasn't a fan of, and it's hard to get inspired to make a video on something you don't really like. I like showing gear that I like and that I'd recommend, and this gear, although some of it's stuff that people will buy and would like, I don't necessarily recommend all of it. And then some of it was stuff that I do like, but really didn't warrant its own video. It might have been a minute-long video if I made it and not a lot to talk about, or just was so far down the list that I didn't think that I was going to get to it. So I'm going to start doing more of these types of videos. So this one's kind of a gear dump with a bunch of different gear I'm going to talk about. I'll probably also do one-off videos from some older knives. Like, do we really need another video on the mini bug out? Probably not, but I have it, so why not make a video at some point? And so those type of videos I'm going to upload as a one item video, but on off days so that they're not pushing other stuff back. And so have around 50 knives, probably 25 pouches, and a bunch of miscellaneous like multi-tools, flashlights, bit drivers, and that type of thing that is going to get videos over the next several months, but really want to find a way to clear some of that backlog. I do like having a small buffer, 15, 20 videos, so that if I'm not buying things or picking things up or nothing's being sent to me, that I have stuff to make content on, but don't like having so much of a backlog that it feels like I'm never going to get to items. So this is the first of those videos. You'll see a bunch of random videos going up on off days, but I'll continue to upload my every other day content, and as normal, no changes to that. But with that, let's get into all of these items. I'm going to start on the right side, which is all knives. First with the Stat Gear Slinger, and this came in the Going Gear subscription. This was one of the standard items. I don't remember what they valued it at, but if you look online, Stat Gear has it on sale right now for $25. You can get it on Amazon for around $37 and on Blade HQ for $50. So pretty wide price margins there, $25 to $50. I probably wouldn't buy this again at any of those price points, which is why it ended up in the video. D2 steel, which is fine for the price point. 2-inch blade, 3-inch handle, 5 inches overall, weighs in at 2.2 ounces, and all that I think is okay. The parts that I don't like, the main one is that the entire handle is basically one giant hot spot, not comfortable to use whatsoever. And so a lot of that's because of this oversized pocket clip, which is tip down only, right hand tip down only, so non-reversible and weird orientation, which is fine, I guess, but again, super uncomfortable. So don't love that. I also feel like it looks a little bit cheap, which happens a lot with blacked out items, I feel like, if they're cheaper. Really kind of nicer blacked out items will usually look pretty nice, but a lot of times you get this weird like cheap glossy feeling and look to it with cheaper blacked out items, and that kind of suffers from this as well. Also, the action's not great. You can see when I move the lock, nothing at all happens. It doesn't try and fall. It's kind of broken in a little bit where the flipper tab works well, but it's definitely not going to drop shut or anything like that on you, which is, again, at this price point, not that big a deal. But when I got it, it was a lot worse. This broke in a little bit. When I got it, it was hard to consistently even open it. And so wouldn't pick this up again. They have two other colors that I think look a lot better, but just knowing how it handles and how it feels, I probably would not pick that up. Moving on to the Swiss Tech here. I don't know the name or if there is a name of this product, but the model is ST45019, and picked this up for $7. So, you know, $7 can't be that bad, but really wasn't good at all. It's a nail nick, which is okay, and it opens well. No real kind of like stopping point. It does stop a little bit in that full open position, but I wouldn't even call it like a full stop or anything like that, just because it reached the end of its track. And so that's fine. I don't know, they don't advertise what type of steel it is. That's not really why I don't like it. It's just not super easy to use. It's kind of shaky on its track. It doesn't feel very consistent, just kind of jumps around and feels janky. The bottle opener can't be used unless the blade is open, so you have to use it open, which doesn't feel super safe since it's also not locking. Probably not that big a deal either. Same thing with the wrench, can only be used open. And then the key ring is at the end, where you have to always make sure, if you were going to put this on a key ring, always make sure that it's out of the path of the blade when it's opening and closing, otherwise it's going to get caught up on it, which seems annoying. And so nothing majorly wrong with this knife, just not something I'm super interested in. At $7, it's not horrible, but I think I could probably find a sub $10 knife that I like more. And if you're buying it for the form factor, I think I can also find a small knife in a similar form factor that I like more than this one. So it's $7, can't complain too much, but also would not pick it up again. Now this one is Kershaw Sinkovich Pub Friction Knife, and I picked this up on Blade HQ because I didn't want to pay for shipping, and so I was like $13 or something below the price threshold for free shipping, and this was like 14 or 15 bucks. Right now, I saw it was listed at 18, but I did not pay 18 for it. Overall, it's not bad. It's kind of a similar bar style knife, I guess, is what they want. It has a bottle opener on the back. It has a small screwdriver here, which can also work as a light pry, and then it has a blade. So would be okay for that kind of situation. They also advertise it as a keychain knife, which the only place to attach a keychain is right here, and doesn't seem like a good place to attach a keychain because you can never open the knife with it on. Every time you opened it, you'd have to stop in the middle, remove the keys before you can open it the entire way, because that does go into the handle. And so non-locking, again, not an issue, but just a weird kind of design if you're going to use that as a keychain, that you can't actually have a keychain on when it's open. So weird design. Also no pocket clip, which again for a keychain knife is probably okay, but would have added a little bit of grip. There's also no way to open this one-handed. I've tried several different ways. There's nothing to grip on. With a pocket clip, you might have been able to get a grip and open it one-handed, but as is, you have to kind of open it two-handed and then go into your one-hand position to actually use it. And so at $17, it's not horrible, but not a big fan of it. This is 8CR 13 MOV, which is fine at that price point. And the blade is about 1.625 inches. The handle is 3.625, and it's only a little bit longer fully open. I don't think I wrote down the full dimensions, but only a little bit longer fully open because most of that handle is that friction folder section, weighs in at 1.9 ounces. So this definitely isn't for me. It might be for someone. It's not horrible, but definitely not for me. Now this next item is a kind of a unique one. This is the Gerber Jukebox, and you can pick these up right now for $40. I definitely wouldn't pay $40 for it. I got it in a set that included the knife, a metal comb, which I ended up using for my dog a decent amount. It's decent for getting knots out of her hair, and it's fine overall. It had a hank in there, which I have somewhere. I don't know exactly where. It's not with the rest of my hanks for whatever reason, but I do still have it. And then a valet tray, which I use every once in a while. It's gray with the topo pattern. And all of that's available on Blade HQ for $31.99, which is $8 cheaper than the knife itself. So if you're gonna pick it up, definitely pick that up instead. Now that being said, I got this on clearance. I believe it was Walmart, if I remember correctly, for like 17 bucks, 18 bucks. And so I have two items that I use out of it, the comb and the valet tray. And if you divide kind of the price, you figure I paid maybe 10 bucks for it, 8 to 10 bucks for this item. which is fine. And so for $10, it's okay. I still probably wouldn't pick this up, to be honest. And it's probably the best knife of the four here. It's got D2 steel, or no, I'm sorry, it does not. It has 7CR17 MOV steel. It is a friction folder with a liner lock. The liner lock feels a little bit clumsy. It's just kind of jumpy, I don't know. It doesn't feel great, but it's fine. It is a friction folder, and that's the thing I don't like most about it. It's fine in terms of opening it. It's definitely not as fast as thumb studs or flipper tab or really almost any other opening method, but it works. But the reason I don't like it is that it just sticks out off the knife, which is exactly how a friction folder works. But it does tend to get caught on my key ring, which usually when I carry it, it's just kind of floating around in my pocket, and haven't carried in a very long time, to be honest. And it would always get caught on the key ring, and so that was annoying. And I don't always use pocket clips, more often than not I don't, but I tried using the pocket clip on that one, and what happened is it's a tip down pocket clip only, right hand tip down again, same as the Stat Gear, not sure why they both decided to make that decision. But with that, the friction folder portion of it sticks up, and every time you put your hand in your pocket it would scrape up on this. It's not sharp or rough edged or anything, it's just annoying. And so definitely would have been better in a tip down orientation, although you might run into the opposite problem where you're pulling keys or something out of your pocket, they get caught on here, and you might kind of open this a little bit in your pocket. It doesn't really have a sharp point or anything like that, so probably wouldn't be a big deal. But overall, just didn't love this. I do kind of like this acrylic handle. It's got the tortoise pattern on there that you see in sunglasses. I think it looks decent. Not something you see in knives often. They definitely went with a gentleman's folder type look to it, trying to go for that kind of straight edge razor look. And I think it looks nice, just not really a knife for me. I'm not a big fan of it, so that's that. Next up, over on to this left tray. So the right tray was all knives, all stuff I wasn't super into. Not necessarily bad, some of it was, I guess, but just not stuff that I personally would recommend. It might be that you like some of the features that it has, or it's more comfortable in your hand, and that's fine. Just not for me. But this left side is stuff that I really do enjoy and like, and so this is just stuff that is either never would have gotten its own video because there's not really much to talk about, or just was kind of far down the list. And so we'll start with this item from JW Knife and Tool. This is the B2 pocket level, and it's in the blue rich light material. This is mostly pocket art, but also a functioning bubble level. Not really something I need to EDC. Maybe if you're in kind of a trade that uses a level often, this might make sense as an EDC, but for me, this is mainly pocket art. I used it a lot when I was moving, but don't necessarily EDC it. They're also extremely pricey for what it is at $60, but you're really buying a piece of pocket art and not the bubble level, because you can go to any hardware store and get one of these for a couple bucks. But this one's just kind of a cool looking one, has a topo maple leaf on the back, and JW Knife and Tool does some really cool stuff. They have some great drivers. I have some beads from them. They just released a friction folder as well, which I've kind of come to the realization that I'm not a big fan of friction folders, but if you are, they have some cool ones out there. Cool item, but again, just not something that really made sense for a video. You might see it in a pouch video one day, but definitely was never going to get its own standalone video. And same thing with this next item. This is from P&W Bushcraft. It was a collaboration with Grim Workshop for a show that they were doing. And the ones they didn't sell at the show, they ended up selling online. So I bought this online, not in person. And this is just further evidence that I'm not fiscally responsible. I've mentioned that in several videos at this point, but it serves no purpose whatsoever. It's mini camping gear. You have spatula, axe, saw, dinner plate, even a mini Grim Workshop card on there. Serves no purpose whatsoever. I just thought it was cool and fun and just kind of a conversation type piece. If for whatever reason your conversation is around survival cards, you can talk about this useless one. But I don't know, I thought it was cute, it was fun, it was $19, not crazy, but again, not something anyone needs and not something I really have any intention of making a video on, but did want to show it off. This I don't think is available anymore. I'll link to everything in the description that is still available. For them, I'll probably just link to their general store since you can't get that anymore. But this last, well, actually there's another item off screen, and then I'm going to talk a little about the trays as well. So the last item that was in the trays is the Muzen Wild Mini. This is a Bluetooth speaker that I got also in the Going Gear. This is a premium item, And at the time, I wasn't super thrilled with it, honestly. I didn't consider it an ADC item and felt like at $99, it's a little bit pricey for a Bluetooth speaker and also eating the value of the box when we could have gotten an actual EDC item. And so the reason I included this one was really because I feel like I was wrong a little bit. I still think it's pricey, but I actually love the speaker. I use it a ton, and so I really shouldn't be complaining about, you know, the price or the valuation or what it took out of the box because of getting it, because I use it a ton. This is kind of like my chore Bluetooth speaker. They say it lasts around 10 hours. I've never used it for 10 hours straight. I usually charge it in between, and so can't verify that, but it has an 800 milliamp battery and 70 decibel speaker. It has a flashlight on there that I've never really used. It has a few different modes, low, medium, high, and SOS, but really just use it as a Bluetooth speaker. It's loud enough that I can hear it from the other room, but small enough that I typically just take it with me. So if I'm going from the counter to my bedroom, I'll take it from the counter and then move it to my dresser. And so I really use this when I'm doing chores for the most part. Otherwise, I'm usually in headphones, but kind of nice to use around the house. It has decent volume, but don't really crank it either, but enough you can hear it from the other room. Like the overall look of it, and that's a lot of what you're paying for. Both the look of this as well as the packaging are really kind of like overdone and cool. Has kind of that Fallout vibe, which is really cool looking. Has a tactile sound to it when you turn the volume up, which is nice. You might be able to pick it up. Let's see. So that click is really satisfying. It's just kind of a random thing. But overall, cool speaker. Still feel like you're paying more for the look of the speaker than the function of it. But I really love it, and so felt like I should update my kind of thoughts on that since I was pretty negative about it in the video. Now the last real item in here is the Tactica M020 camping card multi-tool. Another item from the Going Gear subscription, this time from the standard, another item I was pretty negative about. And honestly, that's mostly because, same thing, the value of this, so $35 is what they had it priced at, which takes up about half of the value of the standard box for a card that I'm probably not going to get a ton of use out of. This is more of their camping card. They have a EDC one as well, but for $35 wasn't super excited about it. Kind of thinking about it now, it's not horrible, just not something I think I'm going to get a ton of use out of and still wouldn't buy for $35, but may eventually test this out a little more. Haven't used it, it's obviously still in the box, and so not getting much use out of it. But it has a sundial here. I don't remember exactly how to use the sundial. I believe you point north and you'd put like this into that hole and see where the shadow lands, and or this hole, I'm not sure which actually, see where the shadow lands. Definitely have to do more research before I use it. I also think there's a difference between northern and southern hemisphere on where you want to be facing. So definitely learn how to use that if you're gonna end up using it. It has what they call rope tensioners, which are just holes in the tool itself. You have an inch ruler over here, a metric ruler on the opposite side. You have a ferro rod striker, obviously a ferro rod as well. This is, they say, a tent peg puller, which, sure. It has the rope cutter here, which again, that'll work fine. Pry bar, can opener, flathead screwdriver. And so a bunch of random tools that I feel like you can probably get in a better form factor. You're obviously going to end up paying more than that $35 price point. So I guess there's a little bit value in that. This 420C steel, a little bit higher quality than a credit card tool. They call it a card tool, but not something that you can actually keep in your wallet because this ferro rod is going to be a little bit too thick. And so it defeats the purpose a little bit of having a card tool. Overall, it's okay. They actually do make some pretty cool looking other types of gear. Just this one wasn't really a hit for me, so probably not going to get a ton of use out of it. I may end up trying to use it, like I said, on just a random camping trip, trying out the different functions, but not really something I would plan on carrying. Now the last two items are the same item on the background, weren't really intended for this video. They came in the mail recently. These are the JRW Gear Curator trays. They're basically valet trays, but I think they look pretty cool and work pretty well for holding knives actually. So you saw in the beginning, you can kind of stack them up along the pyramids, keeps them from sitting against each other. Makes a nice kind of nightstand tray, which is exactly what I plan on using them for. Don't know if you'll ever see these again. They may make a video appearance, but really in the background going forward. But that's everything for this video. Let me know what you think. As always, I'll have links in the description to all of the buyable gear, and most of this is all buyable with the exception of the PNW Bushcraft card. But thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And as always, hope you have a great one. Take care.